Sun Ra, writer, poet, and musical pioneer, has been in the music industry some 50 years and has been called a prophet by many. Born in Birmingham, Alabama, he has been greatly influenced by the late jazz artist Fletcher Henderson. Sun Ra's philosophy of music has been identified as being ahead of his time, and the city of Detroit recently paid homage to him by presenting him with the key to the city. After a recent performance at the Detroit Jazz Center, Detroit Black Journal had an opportunity to interview the esteemed Sun Ra.
Black race now, you might have 50 people who playing jazz scattered all over the country, all over the world for that matter. They lost it because they were trying to integrate, and they lost their ethnic structure, you see. So every nation got certain things that they do, like the Scotchmen, they play their music and they don't integrate it. And the Africans do that traditional thing. Each nation got its own ethnic thing, they don't integrate it. And the Chinese got their thing, their Chinese opera, they don't integrate it. The Japanese got their samurai and all these different things they do, and they don't integrate it. So then black people lost their country and their government. They felt maybe if they integrated, they could be accepted by society. But it hasn't happened, and it won't happen, because everyone has to have their own government and their own ethnic cultural structures. And until black people get that, they'll just be like, well, flotsam on the ocean of life. They have to have a cultural structure for people to recognize you, because they recognize you by your cultural structure. Like sometimes America angry with Russia, Russia send its ballet over and it's send the culture over and show them, well, we're doing something. We believe in beauty. And the Chinese, they send over their Chinese opera. And the Japanese got a lot of films over here. They send their cultural thing. And a nation is, they're compelled to recognize that these people are valid and have principle and structure.
Are you saying that black musicians, especially here in the Western world, are fragmented? Are you saying that we have lost our culture, so to speak? Is it in the music? Does it begin with the music in terms of developing our culture?
Most black musicians are not part of the black race anymore, you see, because they're not really, they don't have no feeling. They're thinking about money. They're thinking about fame. They're thinking about integration. They're not thinking about people, you see, like other musicians do concerning their people. You have to play for your people, you see. You have to develop your ethnic structures. And every nation has people in there who can look out for their race to develop the ethnic structures. Without that, any nation can forget it. Don't care how righteous they are or what they are. They don't have the music. If they don't have a philosopher, if they don't have things on a higher plane, they're not going to make it. There was a book called From Man to Superman by J. Rogers, I think, and the man was discussing, he was telling this white man about why didn't they recognize black people, because he quoted all, he mentioned all the different men who invented things and did all kinds of things and showed that they were mentally capable. But the man told him, the black race hasn't developed a philosopher yet. And you have to develop a philosophy for it before we recognize you. Yeah. I die with the black people read that book. Because philosophers determine the fate of nations. You take over here. This country is based on Aristotle and Plato and Socrates, and they were born somewhere else, but they still teach it in schools. And you take democracy itself. It's based on what the Romans said. I think his name was Marcus Aurelius or something like that. But he was talking about all men being brothers and all that. So it's not anything new. It was something that somebody thought of that they would like to make true. However, God didn't make nobody equal, and it can't be done. So, everyone is different, you see. Just like if you go to a tree and you try to find two leaves exactly alike, you won't make it. If you try to find two blades of grass exactly alike, you won't find it. So then it's really against the laws of nature to speak about equality. It's something man thinks should be because of conditions to try to uplift other men. Particularly black race, they got to stop everything and realize whatever they're doing is not profitable. Don't care if it's righteous, don't care if it's truth. It's not doing anything. So then they have to deal with something else. Deal with the myth. And you can take a myth and build a lot of things on it The white race used the myth of white supremacy. They got a lot to show for it, you know. Of course, a lie. But it makes no difference, you know. You can take a lie, and they got a lot to show for it. All the technology and all these things, that was based on a lie. However, black people got a lot of things that are true. They have nothing to show. Say for instance, I'm from the creator of the universe, and I tell black people, now show me what you developed. What you own. What did you create that's yours? They don't have anything, because if they created something, the white race took it. So they don't own anything, you know. They got to face facts and see that the facts are bad. They got to face the truth and reject it. Of course, they've been taught something else. They got to not deal with justice, truth, none of that. It's not going to help. When they're up under the jurisdiction of God, really, and when you get over there, you don't have freedom. Never will have none. Angels don't have any. So if they're looking for to be free, they're going to have to see God himself, and I wouldn't recommend it. The best thing they can do now is to deal with the word discipline for the sake of their children. A lot of black children walking around here with no future. And you can't, like I talk to a lot of people in schools, and they say you can't teach them anything. Why can't you? Because they're not teaching them right. That's why they have to be taught differently from a white child. It's simple. Black children have to be taught with Egyptian standards, ancient Egyptian standards. You got to have hieroglyphics, you got to have a little mystery in it. You got to have statues, and then they can look at the statue, like the white race got this justice blindfold. They can tell their children what it means if they ask. Well, they got a lot of statues everywhere. They still got statues of Mercury, the wing hills, and they got a lot of myth around them, you know. They're not dealing with the truth. The Rome was built up on myths, and Greece was built up on myth, and actually Egypt is based upon myth, you see. And you go in any European country, they got their myths. But you come to black people in America and say, okay, show me your myths. How many do they have? None. Then they got a vacuum and a void in their life that's different from other nations. They should correct it speedily. Mm-hmm.